I think back to when I played, and I don't know if you guys know this. I was actually on kickoff when I played randomly at 280. I don't know. That's that coach's decision. I don't know why I was on, but I was. And I used to go in the huddles, and I used to tell myself, why not me? Literally, I would tell myself that. Like, what if it was me? What if I was the guy making the tackle? What if I led the team in special team tackles? And that's how I feel about the Vikings. And I know you're hyped about talking about the Vikings because I'm really looking at Kyler Murray, and I'm like, what if it does work out? The best version of Kyler Murray on that football team with an elite receiver who we all know and love. What if? What if it does turn into something? You have to consider that KOC has had a long history of really developing quarterbacks. Look at the quarterbacks who have come there who haven't even started and then went on an absolute tear afterwards on other teams or wherever. There's a chance here. So, again, I'm looking at this and I'm just saying, what if? And the last thing I'll say is, a lot of people don't realize this. Like, when I played and I was in bad situations, I used to get to the facility early and just sit in my car and just be like, I need to get my mind right to go in this facility because I don't want to be here. This is a toxic environment. Get me anywhere but here. Again, what if that was the situation with Kyler last year? What if it was just a really bad environment for him and just a quick environment switch is going to make all the difference and just make him a more confident quarterback? We're going to get 2021 Kyler. We're going to get 2022 Kyler. And again, what if? Seth is looking at me like I'm crazy. It's hard to even talk with the way you're looking at me right now.
All right, pipe down. Mike G, you get to go before Seth has to gather his thoughts about the NFC North.
Not only do I get to go, I don't have to have Seth looking at me because I'm not there,
That's
right?
So
I can just literally focus
feel his eyeballs from 3,000 miles away.
And nothing else. But you got to take this shot away, though, because I can still feel his eyes right now. As I said, the Detroit Lions could potentially go from worst to first in the NFC. And, worst to first, they were 9-8, right? You bring up the records again, and you're like, any one of those teams last year could have potentially won the division there. I mean, look how close it wound up being. The Lions just felt like everything snowballed, right? They lost both of their coordinators. They had the Frank Ragnow situation. They had injuries even before they got to training camp. It just felt like too much for the Lions to overcome. Don't forget what kind of team this is. I mean, honestly, I look back and I go, 9-8 was incredibly impressive given everything they had to go through last year. And I look at their schedule this year. I know it's always a tricky exercise. When you go by expected wins right now and who the Lions are facing, it's the easiest schedule in the division. I don't say easiest. It's the least difficult, however you put it that way, because it's the NFL. And it's also the least difficult in the entire NFL right now. So I'm looking for a huge, huge bounce back year from the Lions. I think they're going to be much better on offense. Dan Campbell won't have to take over play calling from Drew Petzing in the middle of the season the way that he had to take over this past year from John Morton. I'm looking for a response from the Lions to how disappointing last season was.
You know, Mike G, that's a respectable answer.
Oh no,
that was really a respectable answer. And I, you know, as a Bears fan, I'm slightly biased on this bad boy. But looking at the division, I look at the Packers, and I look at the Lions, and I go, okay, these are competitive teams here, all right. And then Isaac has the nerve to come out here and basically, because the question was, who's the favorite to win this division?
What if?
This man, he says, what if?
What if?
He says,
why not Kyler?
Why not Kyler? Are we really expecting Kyler Murray to go full Sam Darnold heel? And this is the situation we're in? That the Minnesota Vikings, who, I mean, they didn't finish last in the division, but between Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy, and they're going to win the division over the Lions, the Bears, and the Packers, that's bonkers. Bonkers. That's bonkers. We need to make a bet right now.
No betting.
Put something. Okay. All right. Fine.
Real quick.
Fine.
What would you have thought Sam Darnold was going to do with the Vikings? I mean, it's not the first time we've seen a quarterback come in under Kevin O'Connell and we're like, yeah, they're not going to be good. J.J. McCarthy didn't even play the whole season. Like, there's factors that affect that situation and what it looked like last year.
Maybe J.J. McCarthy should have played the whole season, and we would have seen what kind of team they were.
Yeah,
all right? Because that. We had Max Brosmer got a W. We were there
on Christmas Day
against the Lions. We saw that happen. I may be in the minority. I always thought Sam Darnold had the skill set to be the quarterback that we saw in Seattle and in Minnesota. I always thought it was there.